Red leather,
Three,
yellow leather.
2, Mike Shafulio.
Fett Fam is back in the house, and here we are with the Book of Boba Fett episode
6.
Unless you just want to call this Book of Grogu episode 1 or Book of Mandalorian season 3 episode 2. What are we calling this? Because once again, was not a Book of Boba Fett episode.
We can call this the Mandalorian episode 0.5 now.
Okay. Anybody else bothered by the fact that Boba Fett series has been completely hijacked?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. I mean, what are we doing here? I gotta be
crushing
honest.
Childhood dreams.
Yeah, well, it's not even that anymore. It's just kind of annoying that, you know, we had like the back to tank and all this backstory and all this build up, and we created this whole world, and now we've just left that world.
Yeah.
And I mean, we dabbled with that world a little bit more in this episode than we did in episode 5. But for me, it was just a miss. I didn't even like this episode as an episode of Star Wars anything. There were a lot of things I didn't like about it. I'm hoping you guys liked it better than me, and you can maybe bring me around on it. But who wants to jump in?
Well, I have a theory.
I'll go first.
Oh, yeah, go for it, bud. Go for it.
Yeah, so I actually found myself in the middle of it going, can this hurry up and get over with? I mean, it was just not drawing me in.
Right. I got to be honest, Matt. I had the same feeling at one point where I was just like, wow, this is, I actually like moved the mouse to see how much more there was in the, you know what I mean? Where you're like, let me check and see how much time is left here that I have to, you know, just, I remember like there was a good friend of mine in college named Brett, and we used to watch movies and just ridicule the crap out of them while we were watching them. And I thought to myself, man, if Brett was watching this with me, we'd be having a field day. But yeah, there were a lot of things that were just, you know, a miss. Daniel, good to see you, man. Welcome to the review. Good to see you, buddy.
Playing the role of IG-88 this evening will be Daniel Stevenson.
Yes. Oh, I wish we could hear him better, man. Daniel, you might just have to listen, man, because your voice is so, you know,
all right.
The connection's just crap. But it's great to see you.
You can also, Daniel, you can also turn off your video, and that'll help your audio. So you could try that. No, I'm serious. Like that's a real deal. Like,
Yeah.
Say something.
How's that? Any better?
Oh yeah, that's
Is
better.
that any better?
Yeah, that's a little better. Yep.
That's some great insight.
I'll accept your apologies now.
All right, Daniel.
And as a bonus, we don't have to look at Daniel.
Wow.
That's too bad for you.
Welcome,
I get to
Daniel.
look at me all day.
Thanks for showing up, Daniel. Now let's ridicule Daniel.
Daniel,
That
what
may
did you
be more entertaining than discussing the Boba Fett episode.
Oh my God, Daniel, what did you think of this episode?
I actually thought it was pretty medium so far. The Luke Skywalker CGI I thought was halfway decent.
Stellar.
Yeah.
That's true.
Darren or DJ, were you gonna say something overall before we passed it to Matt?
Yeah, I've all this Mandalorian stuff being put into the Boba Fett. There's two reasons why they would do that. The first reason would be they were scared that no one would watch Boba Fett, so they put in 2 episodes of Mandalorian to get people to start watching Boba Fett if they hear that they have to watch it for the next season of Mandalorian. Or the other one is that they just didn't have enough story to fill out like a full season. So like, oh no, we only have like 5 episodes of stuff here. Let's cram it with other stuff going on. It kind of felt like it definitely felt like a filler episode where we went off to characters that have nothing to do with Boba Fett, which for me is fine, but we just did that last episode. So we've now done 2 episodes in a row. Like I'm fine with filler episodes every once in a while, but and also for it to be like a 47, I think, minute episode, like to be an even longer episode that had nothing going on. I don't know. Totally fine episode of Mandalorian, but I don't know.
Curtis, jump in.
I feel like I'm also okay with filler episodes, DJ. But when there are like 12 or 15 episodes, and you want to put in a filler, that's fine. When there's only 6 or 7, and we've been waiting, years to watch this, I don't have time for filler episodes. That's the way I feel, anyway.
That was the point we all kind of made last week, that we enjoyed that Mandalorian episode that we watched last week. But if we're gonna be doing Book of Boba Fett, we'd rather see more development of that world. And when you think about it, like we've got so many unanswered questions still, and now we have one episode to answer them all. We have one episode for this whole thing to get wrapped up. It just seems like whatever happens in the final episode, it's probably going to be kick-ass, but it's just going to be rushed. And we had a little bit more time that we could have used to develop it. But let's jump into this episode. I love the way it started, right? We start with what's the name of the guy who ultimately lost Boba Fett's armor or gave it to the
Cobb.
Vance
Cobb
what?
Cobb Vance.
Okay. So Vance is in charge of this little patch of desert, and the spice pikes are coming through there doing their dealing, and he basically does some gunslinging and sends them on their way. I like that as an opener, right? Disney's got this formula now of we need a little bit of an action sequence. Last week, we saw the Mandalorian walk into the butcher shop and wreak havoc while he caught the bounty on that guy to get information exchanged. And now we see Vanth kind of working over these pikes and, stealing their spice, basically, letting them take the money with them. What did you guys think of that scene?
I mean, he's the guy from Deadwood, right? And he's playing the character he plays in Deadwood.
That's right. I
thought it was justified.
That.
It's like they lifted a scene from. Well, yeah, he's justified, but that guy
is that guy from Deadwood. He's the sheriff.
He's the sheriff in Deadwood.
Oh,
and it plays the exact same character.
I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, so it's just like they lifted a scene from that. It's the same thing, but with less swearing.
Yeah, I like him. In that and in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the same character in that series called Justified, where he's an FBI agent and he's got that Southern draw and he's a gunslinger and all that. And I like anything that guy does. He was in Die Hard 4 or some movie along those lines. Timothy Olyphant. He was just really, really good. But go ahead, Darren.
No, that's it. I like anything. I mean, Star Wars just borrows from other culture, from other things. I like it. But I like the idea of feeling like I'm in a completely different genre for a moment.
Well, they're definitely leaning into the spaghetti western now, man. We're seeing full on out in the desert gunfights, where we were just alluding to some of the elements being similar. Well, now it's not, they're not even hiding. It's out, it's full on, the 6 shooters and the whole deal between that scene and then the one towards the end where the same character meets his fate. So we got that opening deal, and it basically tells these guys in the syndicate, okay, it's not just Fett we're dealing with. We got some other people out here that are still holding on. We got to get it together. And then we get away from Tatooine and we see, which I had a heart swell when I saw the little transmitter in the forest, the little R2D2 transmitter going back and forth. Like, yes. We talked about whether we were going to see Luke or not. And here we got R2, everybody knew that was him right away, right? It wasn't just me. Yeah. That was a great little moment. And now we've got the Mandalorian's new skyship coming in. And,
still love the ship. Still a big fan.
That?
I still love the ship. Still a big fan.
Yeah, he had to have gotten there very quick, because to Darren's point last week, it's not like you could take a leak in that thing. He's got to find a bathroom right away. Once he lands in the forest, nearest tree. So he gets there. R2's there. What were your feelings on that, Gabriel?
I thought that was really surprising, but at the same time, I sort of thought that the route that we're going, we are going to possibly see him. But like when he actually was there, I like completely lost my mind. It was so cool.
Yeah, someone asked me the other day, one of my students asked me who is my favorite Star Wars character of the entire, universe.
Oh,
And,
wow. Great question.
Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, R2D2 is my favorite.
He's
Really?
literally seen it all.
It's a sleeper pick, but I'm telling you, like R2D2's been there from the beginning, and he always saves the day. He always manages to, like, there's a key pivotal moment, and somehow R2 comes through. Like, I don't know. That's, and also because I'm a robot guy, I love.
I was about
R2D2.
to say, it's not surprising that you picked a droid, being that you're a robotics instructor.
Yes.
But he's no ordinary droid, Daniel.
Oh, I agree.
So Mandalorian's confused, right? He shows up on this planet. There's no Luke. There's no Grogu. He's like got this droid walking him around in the woods. And then he comes on this clearing where these strange hex bots who are rolling around, like picking up rocks and clearly building some sort of a temple or something.
Ant droids.
I don't know what. I love that scene just because it was just so perplexing. Like, what in the world is going on right now?
Yeah.
But from the perspective of a roboticist, I loved it because you've got these autonomous robots building a structure without any, assistance. They're clearly just working together as sort of a swarm of robots. I don't know. That had kind of a modern vibe to it. Like, I could see that being something that could happen. Although we'd probably just have a 3D printer printing the structure. Have you guys seen those massive 3D printers that print like structures?
Have not.
Yeah, like they build houses with like these things. It's
Yeah,
supposed to be
NASA
end up being like a cheap
has
housing.
one built. NASA has one built in California that
Mhm.
they plan on putting on Mars, and it's going to build the habitat before any astronauts get there. They're going to 3D print this habitat on Mars. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's insane.
Isn't
That's
that
insane.
wild?
Hey, Mike, let me ask you something as a robotics guy. What did you think of how they designed the ants that were building the temple? Were you looking at that thinking that's totally believable, like the weight and the structure and proportions, that makes sense? I mean, what were your thoughts on the actual robots?
Right. My thoughts were, would I have wheels on those vehicles or would I have legs on those vehicles? It's a complicated terrain. So it makes sense to have the legs because you're less likely to get stuck or have your wheel get stuck in mud. You can work in all seasons. If you've got those legs, you're less likely, and you've got 6 legs. So you've always got, at least 3 points of contact on the ground at all times. And, so that system made sense. I'm not so sure about the arm in the front for the head that was picking the maybe something a little bit more efficient than that for the arm that was grabbing the rocks and putting them in place. But, I didn't want, what's that?
They're kind of similar in some ways to those Boston Robotics. I mean, there's a thing that's very similar to that already.
Right. And it's a 4-legged instead of a 6-legged.
Yeah.
But this one had the legs a little further away from the body and more like an insect than the Boston Dynamics, which is the 4-legged, and it works more like a dog.
Did any of you guys notice, or did it bother anyone, or was it just interesting that, so R2D2 definitely, which I like, is a transplant from the 1970s. Like when his little antenna comes up, it's like it's like there's a guy in there moving the thing up because it's a little sort of janky and it wobbles around, and he sort of wobbles with the terrain, and when something turns, the whole thing will kind of move a little bit. Like it's very definitely, this is a practical thing being operated by people versus the building robots, the ants, which seem CG because everything is just very smooth and very perfect. In all of their movement, how they manipulate the environment, there is none of that sense of interacting with the world in a practical way. So I don't know if it's just
one of the things I did like about them is they looked like you know, maybe Luke had them shipped from Amazon. He opened the box. He had to put them together. They weren't like super slick. They looked kind of beat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They looked like a you know a sort of a cheap and easy solution to build a structure quickly.
Yeah.
So to that point, we learned in Empire Strikes Back in the 80s that Luke can move rocks, right? So why don't he just go make the temple?
He's busy training Grogu, which we realized.
Oh, my bad.
Come on, you know.
God.
These are
Although,
low-level
if you-
droid skills. You know, let the droids do the manual labor and let the humans teach Jedi skills.
Yeah, I did like that. If he is going to use droids, using droids that are based off of something in nature is very Jedi to me, because their whole thing is like just kind of the world of nature, and so to if he's going to be using an army of droids to build his temple, let's do something that's as natural as possible, or based off of something natural. So let's do Colony of Ants. I think was a clever way to do that.
They at least look like a biological system.
Yeah, exactly. Even if it is just robots, it's like, well, it's robots with a background.
But you're right, R2D2, you know, definitely not made for that forest world. And he's been to a couple of forest worlds. He manages to get around, even though he's not practically made for that environment. You know, he's supposed to be,
who knows how?
Yeah, he's supposed to be a nav robot. He's supposed to be in a spaceship.
Snow worlds, deserts, lava worlds.
Yeah, he
gets around.
suspiciously did not travel up the hill.
Yeah, they
I
cut
didn't
that
like
out.
the way I didn't like the way he just shut himself off, like, and then was just like, all right, he's just
He's
out.
never done that before.
Yeah,
So
that seemed very strange to me.
Yeah.
That was weird, yeah.
It was a little
It's a
out of
droid
character.
equivalent to, it's a droid equivalent to talk to the hand.
Hey, are you gonna pay for that?
Talk to the hand.
So we now get the reveal of Skywalker and Grogu sitting in the swamp, and Grogu is like concentrating, and he's got one frog sort of levitating out of the swamp. And we get the first reveal of Grogu. Were you excited, DJ?
Yeah. I mean, I love Grogu. I love everything he does. Big fan. But yeah, my problem with I've been having my problems with the episode with Grogu and Luke was always Luke. I thought it was just a little bit too much uncanny jank for me. So that's the problem I've been having. But Grogu is great.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anybody else want to weigh in on the relationship here or the training between Luke and Grogu going on in this episode?
I will say this, and then we can move on to something else, or Gabriel can talk. I could have done without that entire piece. Like, to me, Book of Boba Fett has nothing to do with Grogu, or let's show off our Skywalker CGI skills. Like, I didn't need any of that. Mandalorian should have showed up, dropped off, whatever. Good to see you. And then we go back, and we're back in space, and we're battling. I didn't get any Black Chrysanthemum in this. I did not get any Boba Fett in this. And I was just like, and I was kind of like Mike had mentioned earlier, he was like glancing down at the timer, like, how much longer does this episode go on? Can I just, if I don't watch it, do I get in trouble? You know, like, how does that work? So anyway, go Gabriel.
For me, it was like, again, and as especially somebody who has watched a lot of like the animated stuff, I was the whole time thinking, I love this, but I hate it at the same time, because I was feeling like this is all so cool, but why is it in this show? Why are you showing us this here? And like it was, I had very mixed feelings on the Grogu.
You know,
reveal
to me, it's the same. It's basically the same exact thing that Disney has done with the Avengers and Marvel's universe. They want a little bit of this showing up in a little bit of that. So you realize that all these worlds are interconnected. You get this little swell when you see a character that, oh, it's a surprise. We didn't expect to see that guy, or we did expect to see them, but here they are in the other world, and this is how they're connected. You know, it's just a way of creating this interconnected world of characters, and we're going to see them all in each other's shows in the decades to come.
And I'm okay with that if it's a drop in or a cameo, or if it's an interesting story, because I was watching that going, what happened in that? Like from when they started training to when they ended the training montage, the whole section.
Right.
What was the story? Like, what was the beginning, middle, and end there? Like, I just kept feeling like, oh yeah, I liked it better when they did it in Return of the Jedi. That was cool.
Yeah.
Left me cold.
Like the way Luke showed up at the end of The Mandalorian, that was really cool. But that was fine because that worked with the story and what was going on. He shows up, has his scene, picks up Grogu, and then leaves. That works for the writing of the story. This does not. So, and
also it was kind of unexpected, and it took us by storm. And I'm telling you right now, that scene where like Luke shows up in the X-wing and we don't know it's Luke yet, and then you see that cloaked figure coming down the hall. Like, if you didn't get chills and you're a Star Wars fan, I don't think you're actually a fan.
Something's wrong. Yeah, you saw the cloak, and then he started kicking butt. He had the green lightsaber, and I was like, oh my gosh.
My mind was blown on that. It was almost as good as when at the end of Rogue One, when we see Darth Vader rip through the rebel ship.
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started with that.
Wow.
It's because in those scenes we're talking about, it's not just fan service. There were real stakes, right?
It was elevated storytelling.
Yeah, with this, it's like, this is the problem, that it also wasn't that cool. So now I'm starting to think about, like, why is any of this happening? It's like, hey, I've got this suit of armor, and I'd really like to see Grogu and pass this armor, this male vest off to him. And it's like, well, you can't see him. You could, but if you see him, then he'll be sad. Okay, well, all right, I won't see him then. And then it's like, but then here's this thing. Oh, yeah, the Mandalorian was here, but he didn't see you. So is he then not sad and even more sad?
No, nobody wants
to see me. And then it's like,
nobody wants to trigger Baby Yoda.
We've got this great armor and this great lightsaber, but you can't have both. Why not? Just reasons. You can't.
Why not? Why can't you have both?
I had a theory about that.
Go ahead.
Go, Daniel.
Okay, so the Darth Saber, that's what the Mandalorian's been using, right?
Yeah.
Is that what the weapon's called? Okay, so I think it was stated one episode ago that the original owner of that sword was half Jedi and half Mandalorian.
Yes,
so I'm thinking
about that in the last review.
Okay, so Grogu, I'm thinking, is going to choose the Mandalorian armor, and then he'll be half Jedi, half Mandalorian, and he might choose this weapon to wield.
Oh,
interesting. Except, can you see Grogu carrying around the Darksaber and fighting with it? Because I can't in my head.
It would be like me carrying around a 30-foot pole.
No.
I love the theory. I love the theory, and it all makes sense. Except for the fact that you got Grogu.
Haven't you ever seen the Scottish Highland Games where they like toss cabers?
Yeah, exactly.
Caber toss.
Did anybody else think that interaction with Mando not being able to see Grogu kind of made Luke look like a big wuss, like he was threatened with the presence of Mando?
Well, at the same time, we have to understand what the last episode did. And when we spoke about the last episode, we dove into there was a lot there about this tension with the Mandalorian about these two faiths, the Jedi faith and the Mandalorian faith. And they're in direct opposition to one another.
Yeah.
And so Luke is basically just reiterating the point that we learned in the last episode, that you can't have them both. You're either one or the other. You know, you can't be a devout Christian and then also be a Muslim at the same time. It doesn't work. They're opposed to one another. So I think that's what's at play there in him forcing a choice. And he's also forcing him into the most principal concept of the Jedi is the lack of attachment to others.
Yeah.
Even though that was a staple of Luke's career all through his entire life.
So what I think about that is that kind of disappointed me about Luke's character, is because Luke, I thought, would be the one to correct the mistakes of the Jedi from the prequels, because them not allowing attachments was a direct reason why like Anakin became Vader and like wiped them out. And like in the comics, Luke openly promotes attachments. He promotes marriage and like all of the above, and this was in direct contrast of like him, even as he was in the original trilogy, because that whole time he was very attached to his father and to his friends, and that in the end helped him win.
Correct.
Yeah,
I like it, Gabriel. Good.
Yeah,
Okay.
I also. Oh,
What?
sorry. You can go. We can move on. I'll bring up this point later.
Well, you know, I was just going to mention the fact that they had that weird flashback where he remembers Order 66 and witnessing these droids get killed by the clones. We had that little flashback there, which is, I guess, supposed to reveal this is how maybe the Empire got him, or
Well,
they must not have found
that was
him.
specifically the Jedi Council that they were showing, so that shows that he was
Right.
being trained as a Jedi.
Okay,
Although I think we already knew that at some point,
I
but
knew that.
yeah,
He did.
so
he's
He did.
killed by them. We still don't know how he was ultimately had by the Empire at the beginning of the Mandalorian series. Like what led
Right.
to that?
Well, like I don't think he was with the Empire. He was at the beginning. The Mando found him with like a pirate gang or something, right? Or
the Empire was trying to get him, but he was
when they ultimately got him, they had to fight through a lot of Imperial troops to get him.
Well, it wasn't troops they were fighting. They were like fighting mercenaries
through a lot of like pirates. Those were not Imperial troops.
Okay.
Later that happens because they get
Later
Grogu
on.
during season 1, and then he has to get him back. Anyway, but yeah.
Yeah, we don't know what his intrinsic value was. What were those guys after, where they were willing to like lay their lives down to protect and keep hold of this asset that was so important? Like, we still have never gotten an answer to what the plan was of that doctor. Or at least I'm not aware of it.
That would have been a good thing to spend all of this time exploring.
Yeah.
Instead of what they did, which is like, hey, remember that thing that you already know? Let's tell you about that again, except more boring.
Yes, I got the same feeling watching this than I got watching Matrix 4.
Oh, don't get me started.
Telling me about the film that I want to see. Show me that film. Like, show me what I want to see. Anyway, just
which is interesting because this is one of the first episodes where I've felt like a lack of, well, because these shows, Mandalorian and this and the other ones they're creating, are being helmed by by fans of the source material, and like that's why they're so good so far, is because the people making them are fans of the stuff and are making this for other fans. So it's so weird to just have this episode plopped in where it just like there's so many things we want to see, and it's like, what we want to see. Why are we not seeing that? I mean, sure, we get more Luke, but do we need that right now?
No.
When we're trying to see Boba Fett, and there's this cool reveal later that could have been the episode instead, or yeah.
Okay, so we look at some other things that we've seen before. The training of Grogu in the backpack with Luke jumping through the forest doing flips, and we're reminiscent of the Empire Strikes Back, where Luke has got Yoda on his back, and then reminiscent of his own training, we get that remote droid that's shooting lasers, and this really just cheesy ass scene of Grogu jumping on stones and avoiding lasers. I mean, bro, that was the point where I was like, what am I watching? What
Prequel Yoda.
Watching?
Yeah, we're just watching prequel Yoda again, which was its own thing.
Yeah, but prequel Yoda was a lot more fun to watch than that.
True. Yeah, it's the problem with Grogu as a Jedi is the thing. Like, I wish that had all been off screen. Like, my image of what Grogu could be doing in training is way cooler than them actually showing it, because there's no way to make him look cool doing Jedi shit. So
you know what? I was hoping at some point he could just lose the robe and be in like a karate dojo, like a tighter fitting, like, you know what I mean? Put him into like let's see like a chiseled little body under there, like a frog-like body.
Right.
You know.
And then the guys from Cobra Kai show up, and he's like,
Yes.
Yeah. I like that DJ's response to this episode is, you know what? This is so bad that my own brain can do better than what I'm seeing on the screen.
You're doing.
I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, this whole episode should have been implied. Like, we shouldn't have seen any of this. This is material that cannot be done well. So just don't do it. If you can't,
I could not agree with you more, DJ.
Yeah, just imply that stuff's going on. You can have Mando show up. They can see Luke and him at a distance. He has a quick conversation with Ahsoka, passes off the thing, and then gets out of there. And then we get on with the rest of the episode.
So then he smokes cigars with Black Chrysanthemum, and we move on.
Yeah.
So let's get on with the episode.
Yeah.
Although, can I tell you,
nobody cares anymore, Mike. We're totally doing something else now.
We got our own episode to do it.
I thought my disappointment knew no bounds until the moment where they did the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon sequence, where he starts climbing up, and I think, they're gonna like do something different here, and he's gonna be floating through the tall bamboos like that love fight scene in Crouching Tiger. Remember that? Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe they're going to do, but no, it's like, I'm just going to climb up here and then just stand there.
Yeah.
And we'll just go down again.
Sunset.
I like the name you've chosen.
Back in, get us back on track.
I like the name you've chosen, Darren, for this this episode. Viral Infection. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, so we're back on Tatooine. Let's wash that bad taste out of our mouths. And let's not head to the cantina just yet, because we know what happens there. But they're in the throne room, and they've got the holographic map up again. And Fett's saying nothing, has said nothing, heard nothing from him in 2 episodes. It's Fennec Shand who's giving us the breakdown on the Pike movements and how they're basically just leaving the 3 families alone. The 3 families are staying out of it like they said they would, but the Pikes are just moving in on Fett's territory. And Mandalorian speaks up and says, hey, I know a guy. I might be able to help us with some foot soldiers. And we get this scene where Mando heads to see Vanth and see if he can enlist him. We get that nice little scene in the bar with Weequay behind the bar, an old guy from Jabba's palace who was one of the old guards. I had that action figure. Remember the Weequay doll? Weequay's a bartender now. So we get that scene, and he basically no sooner tells the Mandalorian, yeah, let's go. I got your back. I'll see what I can do. because Mando essentially begs him. He's like, how do I ask a favor? I really don't know how to do this. And he's like, all right, so I'm going to call a town meeting. And here comes what most people's favorite part of the episode is the revealing of, what's the guy's name?
Cad Bane. My
Cad
favorite
Bane.
part.
We get this guy who's apparently been a star in the animated series,
Yes.
but this is his first live action debut. Ironic because he's basically a computer generated character.
So before me and Gabriel weigh in with how awesome he is because of all of our previous knowledge of the animated stuff, I'd love to, if Gabriel, let's be quiet for a moment and let them talk about the character, and then we'll jump in with all of our stuff. Because I do want to hear like first impressions from people.
Let's
who
let
haven't
the
seen
old
that.
guys talk, and then we'll correct them.
Yeah, Gabriel, we'll go on a private call. We'll talk on our own.
Further with you, Curtis.
All right. The only point
Which one
that
of the
I wanna
old guys
make-
wants to start?
Well, I'll start, but I'm going to start earlier. When Boba lands, or when Mandalorian lands his starship, and he gets out, he's told, "You can't park here. You've got to go park somewhere else." And he's like, "Okay, thanks." You know? He's like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm Mando, and you're not." And I mean, to me, that is the attitude of a gunslinger right there. You're just like, "Yes, this is fine, whatever." And he keeps moving on.
I thought he was going to throw the kid his
really
keys
like that.
and be like, "Yeah, you want to park it somewhere else? Go ahead."
Yeah.
Everything.
Ballet.
Right.
I thought that was great. But yeah, one of the other old guys can weigh in on the other guy, Cad Bane.
One of the things I really liked about the character was how they sort of built some good suspense. We see him as a shadow, but Vanth immediately knows he's a threat. Vanth is on top of it right away. Nobody else knows. He's like, everybody go inside. It's about to get dicey out here. And we see the shadow getting closer as they're making preparations. And then the cool thing I thought was hot was how the hat just covered his eyes for the first part of the conversation. And then when it got serious, we see those red eyes, and that I thought was a really cool cinematic element that made his sort of, his debut on the big screen, so to speak, effective. And he was chilling, like, he gave that vibe of, oh man, these guys are in trouble. And man, if I could have beat that deputy in the head with a stick,
Oh, gosh.
he basically got Vanth killed. He totally was at fault there.
He's not dead yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
I would agree with Chapter. I don't think that
True.
he's dead because they all ran in and they had the IV bag and stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
think
they have
he's gonna-
magical healing technology.
Well, it did just kind of hit him in the shoulder. If you watch it,
Yeah.
I watched it again, and it just kind of hits him here and spins him. But it's not it doesn't look like a fatal shot.
No.
Yeah, but the deputy's done. I mean, he
The
turned
deputy's
that.
Gotta be.
Yeah, he's
We
got
can
that
agree.
guy 6 times.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, he deserved to die.
Which
Blue Falcon.
which say what you want about this guy, the youngins who are going to weigh in on this, but if your job is to take this guy out, you put 6 lasers into a deputy, and you don't go back in there to tap him in the head with a finishing blow.
Shame
Good
on
point.
you, Blue Man.
What
That's
are
a
you
good point.
doing, man? That is a rookie move.
No soup for you.
You
Unless-
left
unless it's-
before you
unless it's on
confirmed your
purpose.
kill.
Yeah.
Right,
Unless he
Gabriel?
wants him.
Unless it's on
Maybe-
purpose, like it's a warning blow. Basically, it's like I kill your deputy, I hit you. I'm not gonna kill you because I need you to lead this town. Is basically like recognizing that that he basically is the leader of this town, and also in the conversation they have, he's like, this guy's competent. I can control him. I think. Let me
buy
just
that. I'll
intimidate
buy
him
that.
and get out of here.
All right.
From what I have learned about Cad Bane is that he does nothing on accident. Everything he does has a purpose to it. So maybe
Yeah, so hopefully the writers also are following along with that. That's always the thing. Is like we know what Cad Bane would do. Hopefully the writers are doing it properly. But I guess that's basically, we'll see if they explain it or if that'll just be fan theories forever.
One thing I want to say on the visual of him, and I think this is what Star Wars does very well, is in any other film, that character, a monster, it would have been nighttime, it would have been foggy, it would have been weirdly lit, it would be difficult to see. That's what would make him scary. And the idea that it's the middle of the day and he's evenly lit and we can see everything and he's still frightening was great. I like that. I like that Star Wars treats very abnormal, weird looking things as if they are normal, as if this is part of the world, and it's daytime, so you're going to see exactly what he looks like. And their special effects, when done well, really hold up to that as well. So that was nice.
He did look ghastly and convincing.
Yeah.
Even to the old guys who didn't know who he was.
Okay, cool. So I think we're gonna see Vanth again. This might just fire him up. It might have the opposite effect. But he was like, "You should have kept your armor." I like that line before he did him in. We won't see the deputy again. But then the next scene is.
Oh, wait a minute. What's his story from DJ and Gabriel? What is that character's story? What do we know about him?
So this character was actually somebody who pre-Clone Wars worked with Jango Fett and considered Jango Fett actually to be his only superior. And then once Jango Fett died, he kind of took on that role of the head bounty hunter. And in the Clone Wars was actually able to beat Obi-Wan Kenobi. He beat Anakin Skywalker. He beat Ahsoka Tano. He actually successfully broke into the Jedi Temple once and actually almost assassinated Palpatine once on a mission. So
this guy's a genuine badass.
I mean, even Mr. Tony considers him a better bounty hunter than Boba Fett. So
yeah, he basically his whole thing is like he comes in and he does the job and then he leaves. Like you never, I don't think from memory, you never see him fail.
Yeah, he has no remorse, no emotion. He does it all for the money.
Very important.
No nose. He does no.
Who else didn't have a nose? Voldemort.
Well, he doesn't write handwritten thank you notes at
that.
Christmas time. That's not him?
You think there's a tie and a link to Voldemort here?
No. I mean, but they both don't have a nose, so I'm just saying there's got to be something.
So can we go into the move to the casino now?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
This is probably my greatest, depressing moment of the whole thing because Jennifer Beals is done.
So we spent an hour watching Grogu, and now Jennifer's gone. I'm like, why am I going to watch this
Don't
show?
worry.
In a matter of 45 seconds, she's gone.
We don't know that she's gone. She might just be horribly disfigured.
Breaking Bad.
She's suffering from a viral infection. Yeah, that was kind of abrupt, but I guess it just shows that they're trying to take his funding away from him. They're playing hardball, and if he didn't know that this was war, it certainly is now. And so we build into the last episode where now it's just all hands on deck, and we're going to see who can win this war. Surely Vanth is going to bring some people. Weequay ain't going out like that. We're going to see Weequay kicking some butt. Like it's going to be on in the next episode, and maybe maybe we'll even see Grogu show up with the chainmail, and start forcing
and the Darth Saber
pikes everywhere and the lightsaber.
Daniel wants him to have the dark saber.
Get ready.
He just took them both.
Well, now, show of hands. Talking about the cantina scene. Show of hands. Who anticipated what was going to happen when the Pikes walked in? Anybody?
Not this guy.
Who anticipated what was going to happen when they walked out without that satchel in their hand?
I did.
That's when I caught on. When they first walked in, I didn't know.
I wasn't thinking about it. I was just like, what's
going
on
by
here?
now I had been like the episode was getting long. Not
Yes.
a lot had happened.
Right.
And then they hit me with the Cad Bane stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. And then I'm thinking about that, and I'm not even watching the episode anymore because I'm like, that was the episode, right? So
yes, at this point, I was sitting there thinking, okay, the thing this is what was going through my mind during this scene, was I was going, okay, so about 10 minutes ago, we finally see Boba Fett and the gang. And I'm thinking, now the episode will start. And what actually happens is, hey, let's have a conversation to catch the audience up. Okay, so here we are. Now, what I'm going to do, Mando, is I'm going to go and have another conversation with another guy. Okay, well, we'll go have that conversation. And that conversation is going to be about having a meeting, a town meeting where we'll have another conversation. So that's what we're going to do. That's the plan. Okay, everybody good? And now I just got shot and I'm dead. So I'm like, wait, what just happened? It's people now we're talking about we're having conversations about future conversations we're going to have.
It could have all been an email.
Could have all been an email.
This episode could have been an email. I have a coffee mug that says that somewhere.
Yeah. So by the time the cantina blew up, I was like, finally,
Violence.
happened.
Yeah, I didn't
happen to stop the talking.
I didn't expect it, mostly because I thought that Jennifer Beals had more plot armor than that.
Yeah.
I didn't expect to see her go like that. I figured she would be in the last episode in some way. But yeah, the place is gone. They've taken out his legs in terms of his main funding, and we end with the scene in the little temple where Luke gives Grogu the choice between the chainmail and the lightsaber, and that's it. It's a wrap. Credits roll. So, what did you like best? If you can find your way to a fetish, and then what are you looking forward to in the last episode? Who wants to start?
Can I just say?
Go ahead, Darren.
The first when the guy I call customer service guy first showed up, and I said he's going to end up as part of Boba Fett's posse, and in the 10 seconds that we saw the posse, he was there. He was in the room. So that's it. I'm a prophet, and I would like.
Let's look at. You know what? I'm gonna. Let's roll that scene. Let's roll that scene right now. I want to roll that.
He's definitely a prisoner at that point. I don't know if he's
Yeah,
part
I
of the
think he's
posse.
If he's part of the
he's a
posse or
prisoner.
prisoner, you decide. Here we go. Roll it.
Mayor Marchese is on their payroll and has flown off-world, which leaves us to believe the storm is about to schedule vacation.
See, I told you.
No, what we all saw was he's a prisoner and he's not a part of the posse.
But he was giving opinions. Wasn't like he was.
Do you
give
have a
your
fetish
opinion.
or not, sir?
He's wearing handcuffs. Darren.
Give me your fetish, good sir.
Darren.
My fetish is myself. I'm patting myself on the back. Can you not understand?
Let's move ahead.
No.
Can we move ahead, please?
Now I understand what the viral infetation.
No, I don't have a fetish.
How about HDT Fett?
Favorite part of the show? I don't know my favorite part of the show, quite honestly. I like seeing his new starfighter. That's cool. I like how they've put this attachment on the front of it. It's a Naboo starfighter, right? But they've put this attachment on the front that looks like a chrome air cleaner on like a big V8 that vibrates when he goes.
Yeah.
So I think that's sharp. I like that.
Yeah.
So I always like seeing that. What I'm looking forward to, I would really like to see in this, like what I'm looking for in the next episode is like a 90-minute episode that includes Black Chrysanthemum, and his costume, by the way, is awesome. And the eyes, like, have you guys seen how they're able to move his eyes around? It's fantastic.
I think
so
that's
I want
just
to see more.
I think that's just a person. Those are just the person wearing the suit.
No. It's CGI. It's CGI.
I can do that.
Make
Check
people
out
anymore.
this. Look.
No, they don't make people anymore. This thing
Pretty
is
sure
totally
it's the guy in makeup,
CGI.
Curtis.
And
I can do that all day long.
DJ, you're such a jerk.
This is so much better than that episode.
So I enjoy that, and then I'd really like to see him do something with the Rancor. I'd like to see him ride it like a
Oh, yeah, what
Bantha
happened
or
to that?
something, like do something with that. So that's what I'd like to see.
Bantha.
Like a Bantha.
Like a Bantha.
Okay, DJ, how about you?
Favorite part was Cad Bane coming in, the Blue Bounty Hunter. I think they did a really good job of translating him to live action. That's something that I've always been worried about with each of as they've slowly been introducing the characters from Clone Wars. I've always been worried with, well, that was a very stylized animation. How are they going to make it look any good? And I think they did really, really good with Cad Bane, and honestly, any other characters they've been showing so far. And then as far as things I want to see, I just hope it's like a 90-minute action scene, and I'll be happy for the next episode. I think that I think this episode, the couple of little things that it ended up doing, were putting in the final pieces to be like, okay, the Pikes have fired the first shot. Now they go to war. So hopefully everything's in place now, and they can just go for it.
Awesome. Matt, Fett chapter.
Yeah. So my favorite part of this episode, my fetish for it, was just how bored Mando looked while he was waiting on that bench. I think he related to all of us watching that episode. But yeah, so what I'm looking forward to is seeing him kick more butt, or anybody kick more butt in the next episode, as opposed to what's been going on the entire series so far. It's got to turn around. It's got to.
That's really good. I like. Well, that's the thumbnail of like this whole episode could be reduced to a sad man sitting on a bench.
Built by a couple of droids who were trying to build a temple.
Here's your 4 pieces of bamboo and 2 rocks.
Gosh. Daniel, what about you? Fetishes, and what are you looking forward to?
I'm thinking the best part was the opening scene with Vanth. I think that was one of the top scenes in the whole series so far. And then I'm really excited to see Baby Yoda wield his new Darksaber in the next episode.
Yes. All right, DJ. I'm sorry, Gabriel.
So my favorite part, of course, was also Cad Bane, and what I'm looking forward to seeing is if we do see Grogu again, if like he will actually levitate both the armor and the saber with the Force, and like Luke like may finally realize that, like, oh, okay, he can be both. That, and I'm also looking forward to actually seeing Boba Fett fight in his own show, and seeing when that will happen.
Just in his own show at all.
Yeah.
If the sad man sitting on the bench for the entire episode was Boba Fett, that would be an improvement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. That like his introduction in The Mandalorian, he was a freaking badass, just wrecking everybody when he got a hold of his armor. We haven't seen any of that in the show. So hopefully it's because they've been saving it for the next episode where we'll get to see that again. But
yeah, to your point, DJ, he came in with the gaffy stick and like was breaking stormtroopers' helmets. Oh, and by the way, sidebar, after I watched this episode, I went back and watched the last 3 episodes of Mandalorian season 2, which is when Boba Fett showed up, and that kind of helped me get over this like a bantha.
Get mad.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, DJ, I'm totally with you. He showed up, like his intro.
Yeah,
was
we've seen what he can do, but we haven't seen any of that in his actual series. Really,
Yeah,
I mean little bits and pieces, but
I couldn't agree more. I think our expectation, I was fine with all the backstory stuff and the the banthas and the sand people. And I thought there was some real value involved in all that stuff. And, a lot of real entertainment, a lot of real good Star Wars action. And even last episode with the Mandalorian was amazing. But this Grogu episode just brought me down. And I don't know if the next episode is going to be the Book of Ashoka. Are we going to dive the Book of Cat Bane? Like, what are we going to, like, who else are we going to, is there anyone else that we have to cover before we get back to Boba Fett? But yeah.
The Book of Teletubbies, right? You have to cover the Teletubbies.
The mods are at work. We're going to get to see them kick ass on their scooters next episode. My favorite part was just the fact that it ended and I was able to just say it's over. That was my favorite part of it. And my thing I'm looking forward to is Boba Fett, as we've all been saying, just kicking some ass side by side with the Mandalorian, back to back, firing in different directions. The Rancor with Boba Fett on the back and a flamethrower going, just lighting pikes up. I also want to see the spaceships, Slave One and the little Naboo fighter side by side, just like ripping up pikes from the air. I think like seeing some air support would be really kind of cool to start it like awesome. That, to really like thin the numbers with the spaceships they have available, because we haven't seen any Pike air support. It's just a bunch of guys on speeders. So I want to see those spaceships do some damage.
That'd have been awesome.
Awesome time, guys. All
right, so listen. So before you close us out, I would like to read some fan mail. We actually have some fan mail.
Oh, stop. Oh,
fan mail.
No, it's true.
Uh-huh.
So I've got some comics or some comments from Baby Yoda Mama from Seesaw, Oklahoma, and she says, "Hey guys, thanks for an awesome show. Your insights are captivating. You have a high respect for the work, your viewers, and each other. One of you could work on yourself a bit more, but the rest of you seem healthy." I don't know what that means. My question is, are the Mandalorians as a race lactose intolerant? They seem overly concerned with the way and with pointing out its location to the way. This is the way. And she's spelling it W-H-E-Y. Here is the way. And way seems to be prevalent on the planets they visit. Would it be an option for them to fight evil on a vegan planet where milk proteins are not present? Thank you for your thoughts.
So my first question is how you made it through that entire comment the first time you read it, and then you actually got through the whole comment again, reading it to us. It's amazing.
I've read it 7 times. I got this at about 1 p.m. Does anybody want to comment on the way? Gabriel seems unimpressed.
This is my shirt.
Oh,
this is the way.
My Lord. Daniel has the way.
Yep.
That is awesome.
Wow.
That is awesome. And I will say this is also unplanned. Daniel and I did not plan this. This is an actual
proof that there's a t-shirt made for everything.
I love it.
Well, thanks. All right, Baby Yoda's mama.
So I've got another one. I don't know who has the t-shirt for this particular comment. This comes to us from Peanut Butter Waffles in Upper Greenwood Lake, New Jersey. And stay to the end, Daniel. In the 1980 release of Empire, there was a contrast between the high-stake adventures of Snow Walkers and lightsaber wars and the green lacking of the Dagobah system, where Luke and Yoda snoozed me to the point of coma. When the movie came out on VHS, my brother and I watched Empire twice a week after school. Dagobah was the time to toast another peanut butter waffle or crush some graham crackers into a bowl of milk. This week's Boba Fett episode, Stranger Danger, did not disappoint. Generously, the first half of the episode gave me time for peanut butter waffles and to go to the kitchen for a half an hour. What do you guys think of peanut butter waffles?
Because that's the takeaway from that.
I think we're wasting a lot of time.
I'm a big fan of peanut butter waffles myself. I eat them any chance I get. I do not wait for Luke's Dagobah scene in order to partake in peanut butter waffles. They can be made at any time. But
really though? No. Are you telling me that given like the final moments of Return of the Jedi where Luke is about to die that you're like, yeah, I'll make a peanut butter waffle over this? I do not think so, sir.
I think though that we're glossing over the fact that pause buttons exist, and you can really make it any time and pause the episode. So
thank you, DJ.
Yeah.
No, DJ, you come from a time. I'm going to guess the person who wrote this is from our generation, where it's like to pause the thing, you had to get up, you had to find the button, then you turn the VCR off by mistake, and then it chews up the tape.
3 hours later.
You're not pausing it.
All right, so the highlight of my week so far, fetishes and stuff aside, is right now when I posed the question from the audience and Darren said, "Are you telling me?" And then Gabriel went, "Oh God."
No. Are you telling me that given like the fun
It was awesome.
Face palm.
It was awesome.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. If we don't want this video to be 2 hours long, we should probably head out and really anticipate the next Book of Boba Fett episode. Thanks for bringing the dark saber, Gabriel. Thanks for bringing the fan mail, Curtis. And I guess Daniel's already left us with "This is the Way," and we'll see you guys next week.
This is the way.
Later.
Deuces.